Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So hopefully you've watched part one where I made this 12 by 12 sheet. I think it's called Franken paper. So it's different to a collage. I took bits of paper and stuck them together, but not on top of a piece of paper. And then I did one side. I think I did this side first. I did this side and then I flipped it over and then did it on the other side. So it's got two thicknesses of scrap paper. So I've used vintage encyclopedia, vintage dictionary, vintage music paper, and I've got a few vintage books, and then I've got some of my tea and coffee dyed scraps in there. So they all, I want some maps, and they've all come out, and there's a bit of a digital print there. They've all come out of my scrap box and brown paper packaging as well. And then I went over it with a blending brush to bring up the edges as if they were inked all before they went down, which they weren't. And then I've gone over with some of my favourite stamps to give me this lot of gorgeousness. And we're going to use this to make a folio. So this scrapbooking with me creates, it's her idea. She made a one sheet pocket folio thing. I added a notebook. So I wanted to create a vintage version of this, and I needed a nice sheet of vintage paper, and I didn't have one, and I thought, I'll make my own. So it's the first time I've done that, and I don't think it will be my last. So the way we constructed the thing, I'm just using my scoreboard here really so that I've got something to butt up. So you fold it in half. Now this is where I'm not sure what's gonna happen. We've got a little bit of cracking going on there. I think that's going to add to the vintage look, so I'm not too worried about that. So fold it in half each way. So we've got our quarters. I'm gonna just move this out of the way a sec, and I'm going to get my bone folder to give that a really good burnish. You want to make sure that you've left this to dry. I'm actually doing this the same day. I might be inclined to leave it to the next day if you can. So there we are. It's all very random, but I'm going to sort of decide which quarter I like the best. So it's going to fold over. That's going to fold over. And that'll be on the middle, or could be that way. That looks nice. That's a bit more boring. Or possibilities. It's a bit boring. We have got quite a few possibilities of doing this. Now, I think we're going for that one, because when that folds over, we've got that. That's quite nice. Like to see that. We can stick something on that. Yeah, so we're going to go for this, I think. So I am giving that a good old burnish there. I'm going to bring, and one I like that's there as well. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard back in, and I'm going to score for the fold back bit. I'm going to score at 2 1/4, and that gives you 3 3/4 sort of width, which I think is quite a nice sort of width. You don't have to be precise, you can just fold. So I'm going to go with the fold to the top, I think will be easier. 2 1/4 on this side, fold to the top, 2 1/4. And we don't need our scoreboard anymore, so we'll put it away. And I say, if you didn't have a scoreboard, then what you could do is you could just eyeball and fold back, and then fold back the other edge, and you can just sort of make sure you're turning back the same amount as on the front. So basically you just want those folds to be even, so it really doesn't matter. If you haven't got a scoreboard, you can just fold it. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut diagonally across those top corners. So I'm just going to use a long pair of scissors, and I've got that resting on the crease there, and just do that. I'm going to keep those because I did use them to make pockets. And then we want to trim off up the crease of this section. Now you can do it with a pair of scissors, you can do it on I wouldn't do this on a trimmer, because with all the scoring it will probably, well, it depends on your trimmer, but it's more likely to rip. So just go up those bits. So then these fold back on themselves. And I'm just realising where I thought I was going to see that flower, I'm not, so I've just cut it off. Oh dear. There we go. So these are our pockets. So you could still at this stage go, I'm not sure. I'll just show you the shape there, and we could see what it looks like that way. Is that the way I've just done it? Not really sure. So that's quite interesting. So you can sort of take a bit of time and think about where I like that. I do like seeing that, but I could equally see it on the inside. Yeah, we're going to decorate, so it doesn't really matter. I'm covering up that shallite, but it's covered, so that's the way it is. So that is our book. And what I'm going to do, which I forgot to do on the other one, I want a little ring for like to do a sort of a policy envelope sort of fastening. So I want to stick something in there before I glue the pocket down, so that I know it's going to be on there. And I'm just saying I might do some decorating on it before I start. So that's our main booklet before we add anything to it. I'll probably ink round all the edges as well. So I'm going to do the inking now, and I'll speed it up whilst we're doing that. Okay, so they're all inked. So I'm just going to make my little circle. So I've got some crumb cake coloured cardstock. I think I'll probably be using the crumb cake for Sorry, my phone. I had to plug my phone in then. For lots of the tags and things, I really like the look of that. So I've got my scraps here. So they'll be good enough for my circle, I think. So I'm going to do, I've got a 3/4 inch circle. I think that's going to be big enough. Yeah. So I want 2 of them. I'll get another out of here. Yeah. So I'm going to do 2 just to have the thickness, and then I'm going to do 2 1/2 inch ones, so it's got a bit of lift for the twine that I'll use on the closure. See these tiny little scraps, people would throw them away, but not me. That is just perfect. So shove that back in there, move that to one side. I'll be using that again later. So I want to stick these together. So some glue on there. Might need a pin on that. No, no, we're good. And you can poke a hole and use like a treasury tag if that's what you got, or like me, I'm going to use an eyelet. So let's just, don't need to ink that one up because you're not going to see it, but I am going to ink this one up, and I am going to, that might need, oh no, there's enough ink left on that for that to be okay. And then put some ink on there and stick that in the middle. So you've got then, I've got a little bit of space there. I'm just wondering if I ought to put a 3rd one. Twine might be a bit thicker than that. Let's have another one. That's a much smaller hole. I'm not quite sure what I used to make that one. There we go. So that'll be able to go on there. So I'm going to fasten with an eyelet. So I'm going to make a hole first. So I'm going to get my little crocodile for this circle, and I'll have to use my big bite on the, because this only goes down an inch, and I think I need it. That's already open. I think that won't be far enough in. That'd be right on the middle. So I'd want it a little bit nearer there. Though I could put it on there, it would save me getting my big bite. Although I like to justify having bought my big bite. I do like to justify using it. Right, let's just put a dot in the middle. so that I can see. That's about the middle. So looking down, I can see that. That's a nice little hole. That'll do nicely. And then just eyeballing that for the centre. Put that in there. Yep, that'll work. So I need an eyelet. So an eyelet out. I'm going to need another one. Am I? No, I'm not. I'm probably just going to stick it under somewhere, I think. So poke that in there now. Poke it in there. Right in there and give it a good squeeze. There we go. So that's ready for the closure now. So that's that bit done. So I can either just wrap it round and then wrap round, or I can secure it somewhere on the back, but probably not going to do that. So now I can start gluing. So I need to glue on 3 sides of that for my front pocket. I am experimenting here with art glitter glue because I don't use it very often because it costs me an arm and a leg, and people swear by it, and I thought, well, I'll see what the fuss is about. So that, do the same on the back here. Do like that, I can see that. Right, I want to do a flap there for pockets. So 1.5 inch punch, eyeball in to be in the centre. There we go. So I need to ink those bits again. Cut his face off now. The gendarme, I assume that's who he is, don't know. So that's done, that's done. So we're going to do the ones on the inside. So if you've got nice paper, you could just use that and not do the franking bit. But I quite enjoyed the franking bit. Quite a good thing to do if you're not feeling inspired. You can just still craft. So that's that. So now if you were just going to do a folder, then I would say glue up the middle. As I'm going to put a notebook in it, I'm going to sew, so I don't need to. But I do need to put glue down these edges. So I'll do it just to show. So if you weren't adding a notebook, just put a bit of glue up that centre score line. And then that forms your pocket. So there we go, pocket there, pocket there, pocket there, pocket there. 4 pockets, 5 pockets, 6 pockets. And then you can, with your bits that you cut off the top, you could use those as pockets on the inside if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that because I might add different pockets, and because they've come away a little bit. I could sew them and that would make them right, but that is your basic construction there. If bits have come up, stick them down, and then you can pull out all your different bits and bobs for decorating and decorate it up, which is the fun bit. So I'm going to get some twine to fasten that. Actually I'm not, because I don't know what colour I want right now until it's decorated. So I might cut some tags. So I've got, I think that's quite a nice colour for the tags. So if we measure what we've got, so we've got, it's 2 1/4 inch, but you've glued it either side. So I think I went 1 3/4 before, and I did it about 5 1/2 inch down. So let's do 1 3/4 and 5 1/2 inch. Yep, not really a lot of room there for it being much bigger. So I'm going to check that that will fit in all of them. Yep. So I'm going to make 4 tags that size. Yep, that works. Just looking, I might make the 2 big tags out of this. So it is 3 3/4. I'm just, let me have a look at the instructions. I wrote the measurements down. It's how big did I do the tags? I didn't write them down. Well done, Jess. I think I might have gone 3 1/4. And I've got a feeling that that puts that in half. Yeah, it does. Cooking on gas. So will 3 1/4 fit down? Yeah, 3 1/4 is a good size. So it's 6 inches down, but we don't want to be 6 inches. What about 5 3/4? Will that be too long? 5 3/4 is a good size, I think. Go in there. And yep, that is. And I'm going to use, I don't think these are big enough actually. I was thinking I can use the tailored tag, but not the tailored tag. One of these, but that's not big enough, is it? Cut it out. No, not big enough to cut it out, but that's what I'd like. I might just make it out of some book pages, but we'll do the tags with that. So we need another 3 of them. I'm going to have to break it into a new sheet. Which, if we go 1 3/4 that way, do 5 1/2 that way. So I'll need one more. That way. 5 1/2. 1 3/4, Jez. Nearly had a disaster then. Well, it wouldn't be. It's only a bit of cardstock. And there we go. So that's those. So I do want a pocket and some little tags there on the inside, which can be slightly wider. So those ones on the inside can be 2 inches. And we have a pocket. And I might do them shorter so that they fall below that. So I might do them 5 inches so that when they're tucked in there, they're not as tall as that one. And then I've just had a thought. I could glue this on a bit of cardstock. That would make it stronger for making that pocket. Actually, that would work. Maybe a scrap. Yeah, that would work. That would work. I get them both stuck on that scrap. Quite like that piece. Let's do it that way. That goes over the edge. I could do that because it's too long anyway. So stick these down. Yep. And I'm going to use probably one of my tag topper punches for these that are now retired, sadly, but they ain't going nowhere. Actually, that to go to there. That give them a bit of an in cap. Yep, happy with that. So I'm going to get my tag topper punch. So I've got two now. That one retired a while back, but I do like that shape, and this one's only just retired, and this one you can do the different sizes. So I'm going to do, this one is just 2 inches, so I'm going to do the outside one in that one because it is 2 inches. And these ones in this one because I can put that up. To get that sort of shape. I think that looks cool together. I always think this one looks very, very vintage looking. And on the back. So then I need to decorate these tags. And decorate the booklet, which I think probably needs to be in part 3, because I think this has been quite long. We'll just do these pockets. And we'll call that video done. And do a part 3. I think I've got too much on there, Jez. Actually. And then I've got to decide how I'm going to decorate this. At least not one knot. Round these corners. And that's that. So I'm going to call that a wrap. And as I say, I'll do a part 3 where we're decorating. Okay, so I hope you join me in part 3, and I hope you've enjoyed this process so far. See you again soon. I will link down below to, well, you can't buy the punches, can't link to them, to the stamps I used and the ink and my blending brushes. Okay, bye for now.